Facebook Live? Okay, excellent. Good evening,
Evening.
and thank you for coming to the meeting of the Mayor and Town Council of Brentwood. Today is Tuesday, June 17, and we are starting this meeting at 7:02 p.m. This meeting is being held in person and being streamed via YouTube for public comments during the meeting. If you're not here, you can email those to info@brentwoodmd.gov. With that, I will have Mr. Moran to call the roll.
Councilmember Glenn Harris Jr.,
Here.
Councilmember Juan Arangomia,
Here.
Councilmember Julia Elrod,
Here.
Vice Mayor Jerry Burgess,
Excuse absent.
Mayor Rocio Tremillo Lopez,
Present.
Town Administrator Shelley Dorsey,
Present.
Police Chief Marcus Jones,
Present.
Interim Treasurer Mr. Robert Dawkins,
Present.
Town Clerk Larry Moran present, and lastly our Town Attorney Jason Deloach.
Present.
Thank you. Okay. With that, I will ask people to rise, and we're going to do the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. Have a seat. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Who will second?
I second that.
All right. Any questions about the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 I have it. Thank you. I'm just gonna read the upcoming events. Juneteenth event is scheduled for Thursday, June 19, 2025 at the Wyndham Road Barrier, starting from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's a partnership with North Brentwood. Pride event is scheduled for Friday, June 20th at 6 p.m. and it's gonna be at the Community Center at Bartlett Park. Mayor and Town Council will have a public hearing on Friday, June 20th at 6 p.m. There's gonna be a meet and greet on Thursday, June 26th, if you would like to talk and meet our wonderful town administrator, Ms. Dorsey Washington. We also have a Brentwood Business Association meeting scheduled for the 27th, is that correct? Friday the 27th. National Night Out is scheduled for Tuesday, August 5th, 2025 at Bartlett Park. That means that our work session might be rescheduled, or we're just going to have one meeting in the month of August. With this, I'm gonna open the floor to public comments, and I will limit that to 2 minutes. Thank you. Please come to the podium and state your name and a street name. Thank you.
Hello, Moses Amaro, Tilden Street. What is the town council public hearing about on June 20th?
It is about the budget ordinance.
Just for clarification, it's the constant yield tax rate hearing.
What tax rate?
Constant yield tax rate?
Constant yield tax rate.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Greetings, Ann Wells, Allison Street, and I have a couple of questions. And I know things may have changed since the pandemic, but I'm looking at this budget amendment, and my question, and I know that Mayor, I had a conversation with you at the meet and greet, and we were going to get a copy of the budget. I know you might have gotten busy, we never really got one, but when I'm looking at this amendment, how are we to tell as residents, because I'm just seeing the general fund expenditures, and I think that's all that's on there, and I can remember with budget hearings that you would have the full budget, so if any resident had any concerns or questions, we would be able to look at the line items. And since this is the second reading, I'm not sure where the first reading was, because you just have amended dates, October 1st, 2024, which was the beginning of the fiscal year, and then June 17th. but I've looked in the newsletter and I didn't see anything about it. So my question is, are you planning on having, as they had in the past, week-long budget hearings so people can literally look at the budget items? Because I know I had some concern with the draft.
Go ahead.
This budget ordinance is for the FY '25. It's an amendment to this year's budget to include project grant funds that were awarded by Maryland National Capital Park and Planning of $100,000. So the FY '26 budget should be on the website.
As many people have said, where can we get a hard copy? There used to be hard copies at the meeting.
There aren't any here currently, but we can provide that.
I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely.
The second thing, I know that you are bringing up the constant tax yield. I know that I've kind of looked on site to see what it is. Will there be any explanation on the increase and what you would be doing with the additional monies from it?
So yes, we can definitely have a discussion about that during the hearing.
That's all, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Brian Scratney at 40th and Volta. There are incredibly important things going on in our country, and I recognize that, and I appreciate the heavy work that you all are doing for our town and its residents. That said, I don't want to lose momentum, so I'm going to bring up Volta Avenue again. I'll be brief. I've only got 2 minutes. As we all know, Volta is not a major thoroughfare. It's an ordinary residential street that borders 2 playgrounds. At our last meeting, we shared time-stamped photos of commercial vehicles on Volta, and I understand that several people in this room are already working on ordinances to address that problem, and I thank you very much for those efforts. Another aspect of the problem is the speeding, reckless driving, and routine disregard for traffic signs that is so very dangerous. And to help illustrate, I'd like to share a few brief videos. We are up on the screen. Okay, so there's a stop sign right here at this corner. We have cars that regularly run the stop sign. We have trucks. That regularly run the stop sign. And just bear with me for a moment. We have motorcycles that regularly run the stop sign. We have whatever this is that regularly runs the stop sign. Okay, these get worse. We have not scanned our cameras. These are just incidences that we actually saw and said, hey, this just happened, go check the tape. All right, just a couple more here. We've got groups of motorcycles blowing right through the stop sign. We have fast cars right through the stop sign. We have really fast cars right through the stop sign. And last one, we have some sort of road race here using both lanes. And blowing right through the stop sign. All right, so look, this is what happens at this intersection. It is common. This is on Volta Avenue all the time. Addressing the vehicle size that we saw last week is crucially important. So is this. This is another aspect of the problem. The road is not safe. It needs to be addressed. Again, public buses will stop running on Volta Avenue as of June 28th. That's confirmed by both PG County and WMATA, which means we are free to implement physical barriers after that. I thank you again for all of you that I've been working with on this, and I look forward to moving forward and making Volta Avenue safe for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comment?
My name is Greg Burnett. I live at the corner of 37th Place and Perry Place, or Perry Street. And, well, I don't have a video, but we have the exact same type of problem. Vehicles constantly running through the stop signs. We have 4-way stop signs there. And coming down Perry Street is just a free fall. And we have 4 stop signs from the Mount Rainier Circle all the way up to 38th Street. And at least 3 of those stop signs, they're just blown through constantly all day long. Also, coming off of 38th Street, especially during rush hour, there's a big sign at the top of 38th Street that says do not enter from 7 o'clock to 9:30 a.m. And there's no regard for that sign whatsoever. Cars are constantly coming down there. When they come down there, they're trying to rush to get back over to Rhode Island Avenue, which is very, 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 very dangerous, especially for the young kids that live in our neighborhood. And in summertime, they're out there playing now. They have their pets out there. Some of their pets are on leashes, some are not. However, the kids are playing in the street, crossing the street, and the cars just blow through. Occasionally, they may slow down, but for the most part, there's no regard for the stop signs there. On the Mount Rainier end, they have speed bumps, which slows them down at that particular stop sign at 37th Street. But that's Mount Rainier. We live down here in Brentwood, and we don't have any barriers. We don't have anything to slow down the traffic that's coming through from 37th Street all the way up to 38th Street.
Thank you.
And sir, there's a bus stop, kids bus stop right there.
Right
West
there.
Mills, right?
Yes, sir. Right there on the corner.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Monique Wilson. I'm Mr. Burnett's wife, and I reside at 3816 37th Place. We moved from DC off of New York Avenue about 3 years ago. And when I tell you it was like speed racer every night, 8 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., myself and my neighbors, if your car didn't get hit, just count it as a blessing. So we've seen the racing and the speeding and the crazy drivers. I have video, and when I saw his video, I was like, okay, so it's not just me. I mean, when I tell you I have video, I even have video with law enforcement running the light, school buses running the light. But yet, when I ride my scooter to work, and I go around that Mount Rainier Circle to get on Rhode Island Avenue, I get a ticket. The bus snaps my moped tag, so I'm like, well, I'm getting a ticket, but for some reason these cars come flying like it's $4.95. And sometimes when I used to work from home, I'm sitting at the window. And I've seen many times where the kids are out there, I mean, anything can happen. The first thing they're gonna do is knock on my door. Can I see your camera? Okay, yes, you can see my camera, but I just wanna know what the process is to get 2 speed bumps. All I ask for is for 2 speed bumps. And I don't think it's a lie, because when I make that circle, when I go like around Colmar, or I go Hydesville, or I go the opposite way, Brentwood, everybody got speed bumps but us. We just came up, I think it was Perry Street, and they repaved the road. The speed bumps are gone. Right around the corner, they have speed bumps. And I don't think it's asking for a lot. My taxes have gone up. I'm thinking if I move out of DC, I come to Maryland, it's a little bit better. No, it's not a little bit better. But I'm paying more taxes, but I'm getting less things done. And I just wanna know what the process is, just to get 2 speed bumps. And that one-way sign that it says no drive-through during school hours, when I tell you they come through there flying, that sign doesn't even exist. So I just think, honestly, it's gonna take for someone to get hurt or fatally wounded, and I think that's when somebody's gonna step up and say, oh, okay, we got the money in the budget to get the speed bumps, but it shouldn't have to get to that point, because you've been warned, you in office, we voted for you guys. I even had a petition where I walked the block before you guys came in office, and I submitted it, didn't hear anything. So that's the only thing that we're asking, because I have an 87-year-old mother that I'm taking care of, and one day she got out the gate looking for me. I just happened to be across the street. So now I gotta keep my gate locked. because I'm so afraid when she crossed that street, I just hope that the worst doesn't happen.
Thank you.
Mayor, may I? Just a comment or a question. Will we have a copy of that petition if that was submitted that we can obtain? Is that something we would have?
I can email it to the address. I sent the letter this afternoon, so I have the names, because at the time I submitted it to Mr. Steve Leggett.
Oh, Stefan.
But yes, I have clear copies. I'll be happy for it.
I would love to see that. Thank you.
And ma'am, what was your last name?
Monique Wilson?
Ms. Wilson.
Is that the one you referred to?
Yeah.
He's the one that I gave it to.
Okay.
So, and I understand there was some issues with that petition, and there were some Mount Rainier residents on there, so that may have been,
Yeah, I only had like, at the time when I submitted it, I was told that the Mount Rainier, because I was new to the area, that the Mount Rainier residents didn't count, but the majority I had were within 200 feet or something within my black. So
Gotcha.
I have,
okay,
yeah, I'll submit it to you guys.
okay, thank you. So-
All right. Anyone else who would like to? Okay.
Hello, my name is Keelia Phillips, and I live at 3902 38th Street. And I'm here to raise a concern about a very large tree in my yard. This tree poses a safety and a public health risk. First, the tree is large. The tree roots have become unstable due to burrowing of a large infestation of rodents. They burrow under the tree, and I think that is where they're residing and resting. At times I drive in the evenings, I can see my headlights reflecting back at me with some little lights, and I know it's the reflection of my lights in the eyes of the rodents underneath the tree. I think this poses a significant public safety concern. I don't know why we're smiling, right? But it's very unnerving to me. This rodent infestation, it's growing, and it's compromising the root system under the tree. That is my concern. I think about the structural instability of this tree as well, and the health and sanitation issues surrounding this infestation. So I'm here to request some action or guidance from this council, and support in inspecting the tree and to take necessary steps, whether it's removal or pest control or any other interventions that are possible to support this community member.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips, for that. You stated that the tree is on your property.
I feel like I have to say yes, it is.
Okay, so there's very limited that the council can do in regards to your property.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically between you and your home insurance, because we don't have anything to support private space.
No, Madam Mayor, are you telling me there's nothing that the council can do to support me with this sanitation and health issue with respect to the rodent infestation? I am speaking only of this section in the front, but then I have the backyard that I thought maybe I'd save that to for another meeting. My area, my house, my yard is very clean and I maintain it, but then this is something that I cannot do anything about beyond maintaining a cleanly area.
What the only solution at this point that I can offer you is to have the code enforcement to do an inspection and go from there.
Thank you. I think that's a better step than just saying it's my responsibility, and I appreciate any support that I can get from the town council. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I make
Nope.
a quick comment?
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say also, I mean, what I can offer is following up with the tree committee and seeing like what, there's a lot of folks there with a lot of experience with trees and on all that, and I can follow up with you. That's as much as I'll look into that and see what advice we could give you, and maybe there's already folks that are working on similar issues. So.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to allow one more person to do public comment. Go ahead.
Maybe I wasn't clear. So because I don't see where the time was for there to be the type of hearings that usually are associated with this type of budget, and allowing residents. So I know I asked a question before, but I didn't know when the budget hearings, I never saw anything about budget hearings or inviting, you know, people to come in and actually look at it, because it is a lengthy process. And as I shared with everybody up on the council during the meet and greet, I had concerns with the budget. So I'm very surprised that it was adopted, and I'm not sure if there were any hearings. If so, I could definitely be corrected. But I know that there's usually several ones, and you just go through each one's revenues, expenditures, and each one, and you, so that was my question.
Sure.
I'm not sure it was answered.
Former council members, we did approve the budget. We did have hearings. We actually had 2 hearings. We have several different meetings in March and April before the election. So that happened. You can, you're welcome to review those videos on the budget. But Shelley, do you want to explain the reason why we're doing this hearing?
So the upcoming hearing for Friday, and I don't think you were really asking about that, but I will speak on it. The CYTR, there's a requirement in terms of publicizing that information. And the ad was placed, however, there needed to be a 7-day, 7 days needed to lapse between the time it posted and when the hearing was held. It was only 5 days. So the state has requested that we have another hearing. So that's what the hearing is for on Friday. But in regards to the budget for FY26, I believe we held 3 workshops. Then we had our first reading. And I can't remember the dates, but after we did the first reading, then we held a hearing for the budget. So, and all of that should be on the website. Should be able to find it on the website.
And it was publicized the way you publicized in 7 days, because I didn't see anything. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I did have concerns. I spoke with everyone about it, and at that time, it wasn't approved, and that was the meet and greet. So I'm trying to figure out if the meet and greet was right before the election. How did you have hearings when I was told that it was just a draft? And I looked on the site, and it was just a draft. So I'm trying to see how, was it fast tracked? It's okay if it was fast tracked, but I was very much interested in it. And when we talked about it, I don't know when the meet and greet, I know it was right before the election. It was the Sunday before the election, I believe it was. At that time, it wasn't final.
I wouldn't say that it was necessarily fast-tracked. However, the previous council, they did want to get through the process prior to the new council coming on board, so they didn't have to deal with it. But we still followed the process. Yeah.
Madam Mayor, may I make
It's
a
always
comment?
been the process before an election year. The previous council always prepared the budget. And if you go back in previous year, that has been the process that I utilized in the past 10 years.
Respectfully, Mayor, very respectfully, I was on the council, so you're correct. But you did a draft, so the incoming council would have the opportunity to make changes. You didn't finalize, the previous council would not finalize a budget for the incoming council because they may have their own ideas, they may have their own platform on how they want to do the money. This is the first time I've ever heard that you finalized it, and that's my only sticking point. But if it's adopted, I spoke with everyone about exactly what has happened, and everyone had concerns, but I see that it was passed anyway, so.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do about it now except see what the content is.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I
With
make a
that,
comment?
No, I actually going to move right now. The agenda, I'm gonna pause for that because it's time for me to move to the next because time is clicking. I'm sorry. With that, I just gonna move to a 5 minutes presentation from Obview, who's coming and talk about the stop sign. Mr. Wade.
Thanks, everyone. My name is Wade Borman. I work with Avio in the Let's Drive Safer program. We're the stop sign cameras that are in Brentwood and many other communities in PG County. We also run pilots in Baltimore City, in Montgomery County, and elsewhere. So I actually brought some data from our cameras that are in Brentwood that prove some of y'all's point of the traffic safety issues that Brentwood's facing. So I do see some new faces, and not everybody knows who we are, so I do want to kind of just briefly go over what our program is and why we do it. So I do have a presentation, but I wasn't able to work out getting the tech up, but I'll make sure it's available for everybody that wants to see it. I'll give it to Chief, and he can make sure everybody gets it if they want to see it.
So this is, you work for the camera company?
Yes, sir. I believe we talked about it on the street once.
This is a camera company presentation.
Excuse me, can you please proceed with your presentation, and then if they
Sure.
have questions, I will
Sure.
open the floor.
Absolutely. So we use Advanced Tech to come in and set up the pilots that allow us to collect data and then turns into potentially having stop sign cameras in your community. We're able to set them up really quickly because we don't have to hook into the grid, so we just use solar and they can go in a matter of weeks. So what we try to do is create a community-centered program so that everybody's involved, everybody knows they're there, it's not a gotcha moment, and we're not creating some, unfavorable community actions. We're wanting to be part of the community, and we want to make it a safer place. So what we do is we use citywide deterrence. We have cameras throughout the city, throughout the county, and that allows us to cover a larger ground. So some of the trends we saw, 45% reduction at the camera sites that we currently have from the beginning of the program. So that means a 45% reduction in the high and medium level, most egregious violations. So I have per stop sign location data as well. So 40% reduction at Volta and 38th. We have a 25% reduction at Allison and 37th. We have Utah and 37th is actually staying about the same. There doesn't seem to be too much traffic at that one. We did have a spike at Utah and Jackson that then went back to a normal level, so not really seeing a difference at that one as well. And then we've seen a 25% reduction at Volta and 38th as well. So Volta and 37th, we've also seen a 50%. So basically across the board, seeing that 45% across all the cameras, which is about what we see at most of the towns we work with, 45% to 50% reduction in those stop sign violations. We have time data as well. As you would expect, during rush hours, you see more. We see an incredible time difference in Brentwood that I've never actually seen before. Between the hours of 7 and 9, we see a spike from 20 violations per hour to 140 violations per hour on average. It plateaus there for 2 hours and then goes back down after 9 o'clock once people are out of work. Like I said, you'll see the chart if you'd like to. It's kind of, I've never seen anything like it in all the towns we work with. It's astounding. Makes sense because this is such a cut-through town, which I'll touch on that again in a moment. So the 3 kind of specific locations where the time data is kind of interesting. We have Volta and 38th. We have that massive spike. Volta cut through, makes sense. We also see that at Allison and 37th. Huge spike in that morning rush hour and then goes back down. Super interesting. Kind of different, something we don't see in other places, is at Utah and 37th. We see a little spike in the morning, but we see huge spikes at the end of the day. I'm not sure why it's more in the afternoon rush hour for the morning, but interesting data nonetheless. And then one of my favorite things is we like to break it apart by non-residents and residents. Are we just taxing the residents? No. We actually found in Brentwood 91% of tickets are non-residents. Hyattsville being 22.7% of that. So one of the most important parts of this program and the legislation that backs it, all money collected by tickets has to go to public safety. It can't be spent on anything else. So it can't go to a slush fund, can't go to a new building, it has to be sidewalks, it can be speed bumps, it can be other traffic calming, it can be signs. It's things that make public safety a priority. I have videos as well, but I think everybody has videos and I think everybody's seen it at this point. if anybody wants to see my videos, I'm more than happy to share them. And I know my time is limited, so I don't want to take too much of their time. I appreciate everybody. And if you want to speak to me, I'll be here afterwards as well.
You can answer a few questions.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So, one question I had is, who did your data analysis?
We do that internally.
So the company that's selling us the cameras and making money off the cameras is doing the data analysis for the presentation we just saw,
Yeah, versus like a third party.
which is essentially commercial. Yeah, third party. Usually we want to do a third party analysis if you're the one that's actually selling the product.
Right. Okay.
So you're saying that most of the violations come from 7 to 9 in the morning, and then you said.
We see a spike, not necessarily all.
Okay, well,
like most
fair
of
enough,
them.
a spike. And then also 5 to 6, 5 to 7?
I'd have to look. We can review it.
So it's happening when people are driving through town.
Yes, the cut-throughs.
Thirdly, I find this point that you made about it not being residents committing the violations to be kind of strange. Like, I don't understand why that matters.
Well,
Like, why should we feel as if it's okay to go after people if they come from Hyattsville or Colmar Manor?
I think my point
as
is
opposed to
that.
people that are in Brickwood. Like, if everyone
Sure.
adopts the camera program that you're advocating for
Sure.
and that you're profiting from, then everyone in all of these towns will be getting ticketed, because people from Brickwood also have to drive through Hyattsville.
Sure.
They have to drive through Colmar Manor.
Sure.
Like, it's not like there's no price for ticketing people.
Yeah, I think my point is more that it's non-residents making residents and their families unsafe.
Are they unsafe? Can you point to any data that shows that they're unsafe?
You're
Any
welcome
data-
to show that in private. We have already
So
seen
there is
it.
no data that shows that it makes people more safe.
His video.
You have your residents here speaking on every single street of the town of Brentwood, stressing not only one time, every time they come to this meeting, expressing the issue they having with people running the stop sign and speeding around our town.
But do we have data showing that the cameras make anyone any safer? Any data at all? And I'm not just talking about from their company. I mean from anywhere. Can you find any source, anywhere, that's academic and has actually been
That's a good question for legislation when they, Annapolis go back and review, because they approved this legislation and they have all, hearing as well. So you're welcome to go and ask them exactly the reasons behind why they thought that.
Legislation, right? Like, this is legislation.
Yeah, no, but it is beyond Brentwood,
Have,
so.
like data showing that this actually promotes safety if we're saying that to people and selling the entire program, using that claim? If we really don't have any data showing that there's actually a safety increase, right? But we're claiming that, like, constantly. Like, shouldn't we have that? You're saying it exists. You're saying that you have to go back to the state legislatures, which is fair. But can you get a hold of that? Like, we've already got the program running. We've already nailed people for $8,700 in the last month, right? So if we're hitting people's pocketbooks and nailing them to the wall, like, shouldn't we know that this actually does promote safety and not just kind of guess?
Well, I guess it's gonna be overtime. Collecting data is not overnight, so that will tell us exactly what's going.
That's fair. It
will
should
be.
be sold as an
Well,
experiment.
Mr. I appreciate your comments and your questions, and I will have Mr. Wade to go and answer all the details on your questions. The only reason is this platform, we have only 2 hours to do this meeting, and I know we have other issues to tackle other than stop sign cameras.
I appreciate you giving me the time, but
And you have a question, please go ahead, ask him them.
So I know that you use percentages, and you said 45%. 45%, what was your total?
Of
you
total
gave for
citations?
45%?
I could get that number for you.
And I'm curious about that.
Okay.
And I do agree, I know it's a touchy situation, especially for the streets where people are running through stop signs, so I understand that. But I don't think that there should be any data that's given individually to any one person. It should be something that should be published to the community
Sure.
at large.
Absolutely.
The other point I wanted to make, I don't know, how much are the tickets. What is your percentage that you take for doing the data analysis, for
So
issuing
it's
the ticket?
by law, it can't be a percentage. It's a
I didn't ask you for
pay
the percentage,
structure.
I was asking how much out of $100 for example, I don't know what you get. What is the?
It doesn't.
See, that's
So there's,
problematic.
right, I can explain it.
And the
Absolutely.
Well,
No.
I'm a
Nope.
data person.
Sure, yeah.
And
It's
so
just not a
because of-
percentage. That's all.
What are you saying?
It's just not a percentage, that's all. I'm not saying I can't explain it. I will explain it.
I don't see the figures.
I can't do
So
that.
it's per poll and then per ticket, per violation.
So how much do you get out of the ticket?
$10 per ticket,
So you get $10 per ticket, do you get anything additional?
and then
You just get $10.
that's it. And that mostly covers our fees of going to the
And
NBA,
$50
pulling data.
comes to the town.
What would it
The
be,
ticket is
$50
$40.
and you get 10.
$40 ticket.
$40 ticket.
So if it's 40, let's not
30.
play with numbers, just give me
I
an
never
example.
said 60, that's all.
So, sorry, I'm just gonna interrupt real
We-
quick.
we're not talking
Wade,
about
is there any way that if I host an event, an information event,
Sure.
I do it on my own account,
That he's
and
presenting right now.
right, but it's just, I just wanna, just please, give me 5 seconds to.
Can I get my questions out? And then if you
Councilman
wanna-
Romero?
That would be the reason, so everybody can give their questions, right? Because right now as a public, we're supposed to have 2 minutes per presentation, right? So like I'll have an event where Wade can come, everyone can speak, and Wade, you can present everything and find, and, is that something we can do?
Absolutely.
Is that something-
I would like to finish my question.
Sure.
Because I think she opened the floor for that. Because people may not be back. My time isn't just like I could come back whenever you have a meeting.
Your
but
question
sometimes
is?
I'm not done yet, so I appreciate. So I was trying to get the total amount of whatever figure we want to say.
Okay.
You want to say 100, you want to have 50, if you want to say $10. I want to know what percentage and then what percentage comes to the town. Because that may be a win-win, like people aren't understanding.
Right.
And the reason why I'm saying it, because we had experience from someone doing it before, and we didn't get a profit from that. Because we had to have someone, wait
Sure.
a second.
Sure.
We had to have someone look at the tickets, read that all that's money, issue the ticket, and do all of that, and that costs money. So the reason I'm asking, so it could be a win-win, you
Sure.
said 45%, and you're saying 180, that was a large amount within a certain hour between 7 and 9, and that's a high amount with all these stop signs on 38th Street, if you're saying, it's a cutaway. And that's important to know, because I came down 38th Street, crossing Rhode Island, took me 12 minutes to get from Rhode Island Avenue to Allison Street, because there's 4-way stop signs, so
Sure.
everyone is stopping before they go, so I'm trying to see speeding between that time.
Sure. So for your first question, the total amount of violations this month was 5,076 from previous. The question of percentage, I'll have to do the percentage so I don't give you the wrong number. And then what was your third point?
No, I was just asking you about the amount that you take. That's the question that I keep asking.
How much do we take?
Yeah, how
Or
much
have
do
the
you as a
percentage?
company for
Right, I'll have to
rolling
like,
out the pilot program, and
Sure.
being able to monitor and issue?
I'll have to pull that from the team.
And I would think, and this is, and I'm done after this, I would think if you're doing a presentation, I've asked you about the 45%, that's the data that you said, you don't have the number, and then I would think that you would have the number of the tickets
Sure.
that you issued, that you would have what your take is, and if you don't, that's problematic for me.
So my presentation tonight was not financial, so I don't have the financial information in this presentation. That's why I'm trying to dig through my.
It's a pilot program that you're presenting to us as residents.
Not necessarily a pilot, we're in pilots, and now this is an actual program.
But you don't have any data.
I do have the data, I just have to find it, that's all.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Ms. Phillips, what's your question?
Just to the town council, so these funds are going into a safety fund or something is what you said, and it can only be used for traffic safety or whatever?
Public safety.
Public safety.
So I wanted to ask, what programs do we have lined up to utilize these funds to increase public safety for the town?
We have plenty to do in this town that is 100 years old. We have.
Maybe the chief can answer that, Madam.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, Chief, please.
Yeah, I can give you the specific outline for it, since it is my program. So when we did the projections of like what the potential revenues were and how it could be used, one is to modernize the technology that the department is using for the residents, because we are antiquated at this moment. Like, you have to come into the front counter to pay citations and all of that. People don't have time for that. So that's moving to some online platforms and things like that, modernizing our parking systems. But in addition to that, and like my third and fourth goals are, one, sidewalk repairs, any of the costs that we have for the streets that require the speed humps, reinvesting in the LED stop signs, because a lot of them you cannot see at night, and also reinvesting in our Pepco LED light program for the street lights, because we don't really have many in the town right now. So that was some of our priorities as we go along. Now the revenues each month fluctuate, so there we kind of have to let it get in the bank, see what we are able to do with it, get the RFPs out for those different projects, and see what the cost is. But those are some of the focus areas.
Well, thank you, Chief.
Yeah, go.
Her-
Something like traffic calming, coming around Rhode Island onto 38 heading to Davisburg. I would like to hope that you're considering that. And I'm sure if you check your records, you realize most of the traffic accidents that we have kind of end up happening around that corner.
Yes, so that is a part of the Safe Streets study that's going on, where they'll recommend all the different traffic calming measures and changes for all the roadways in the town.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Wade, for the presentation. I'm just gonna move. this
Mayor,
motion.
real quick before everybody gets away, we are going to be organizing a task force for our Safe Streets grant, and we are looking for resident participation. So that notice should be going out in the next couple of weeks. We have our kickoff meeting tomorrow, and so I hope that I will see some of your lovely faces on that task force.
All right, thank you. All right, gonna move the agenda and going into the report, and I will invite the police chief to provide the monthly report and the code enforcement report.
Good evening. So this is the police department's report for May 2025. Again, our Part 1 uniform crime reporting to the Federal Bureau of Investigations. We compare month to month and then year to date. So we're looking at May 2025 compared to May 2024. These are what we call crimes against persons, which is people or citizens. As you can see, the crimes against person went up in the area of sexual assault or rape. So there was one reported in the month of May within the town limits. There are no commercial robberies, no citizen robberies, no carjackings. There was one aggravated assault with a non-gun or knife, which actually stayed consistent compared to 2024. So there's only, although it says 100% is the percentage of change, there is the one sexual assault that raised our statistics for May compared to last year. Part 1 uniform crime reporting to the Federal Bureau of Investigation for May 2025 to May 2024's comparison. Crimes against property. There were no residential breaking and enterings or outbuildings, which are considered to be like sheds. We did have one residential burglary in 2024, so you'll see that percentage did drop. We had no commercial breaking and enterings. There was one stolen vehicle reported in the month of May, which it was not in this time last year, so that raised up the percentage for stolen vehicles. Theft had dropped from 4 in 2024 to 1 in 2025. We have no arsons. So overall, crimes against property for the month of May, and that is comparing 2024 to 2025, are down 60%. So that's a month comparison. Our year-to-date comparisons, so if you look at January 1st, 2025 to May 31st, 2025, there have been 3 assaults, 2 burglaries, no carjackings, 8 stolen vehicles, 1 robbery, 1 sex offense, 8 thefts, 0 murders, and 13 theft from automobiles. If you look at it compared to January 1st to May 31st, 2024, there were 6 assaults, so assaults are down. There was 1 burglary, so burglary is up by 1. There were no carjackings. There were 5 stolen vehicles, so stolen vehicles are up by 3. And actually that 3 are considered recovered stolen vehicles that are being parked in the town. We did recover 2 carjacked vehicles that were taken elsewhere in the county and brought here, as well as 1 what we call straight stolen, which means you could jump in it at a gas station or you just broke the window. It wasn't a violent crime like a carjacking, was recovered here. So robberies remain the same, 1. The sex offense for 2025, there's been 1 compared to 2 in 2024. Thefts are up slightly. There were 6 in 2024, and there have been 8 in 2025. There's been no murders in 2024 or 2025. And theft from autos went up by 3 calls. So there were 10 in 2024 and 13 in 2025. So with those few numbers, the difference is crime is trending upward at 16.12% year to date compared to 2024. And as I said in the last meeting, I anticipate that to go up a little bit more because it's the summer months, and we generally see higher crime rates in warmer weather. And we are trying to take some proactive approaches and some collaboration with some of our neighboring municipalities because we are short-staffed here to try and combat some of that. If we look at calls for service, these are calls that are placed into the 911 center and a non-emergency center. There were 286 for the month of May in 2024, and there have been 306 in the month of May for 2025. So that's about a 20 call difference, or 6.99%. Year-to-date calls for service comparisons of 2025 to 2024. For January 1st, 2024 through May 31st, 2024, there were 1,303 calls for service in total. January 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2025, there have been 1,589, a 286 calls for service difference, so equates to 21.94%. Where we see the drastic increase, which is actually a good thing, is in our premise checks. They're still logged as a call for service, but premise checks are officer-initiated calls. So that means like they stopped outside of your house or on the corner of the block, or they went into a local business to check, or they came here to help a citizen. They put themselves on a premise check to talk to the citizen in the lobby. And some of that also comes from some of the targeted enforcement that I had ordered along Perry Street, along 38th, and along Volta for the month of May. And you'll see a lot more of that in the June reporting because it's increased as much as we're possibly able to with the 3 people we have on patrol. The next breakdown just shows your calls for service totals. Some of these do not make sense to the average citizen because the wording that we use in public safety, but I just like to put that there. If anyone has any questions about it, please feel free to reach out. The next page shows our code enforcement, which we try to say code compliance now because it should be education before enforcement, so we say code compliance. The statistics for this for May are actually pending. Code enforcement had to leave today for an emergency, so I was not able to plug these numbers in, which I will get done tomorrow when they return. But again, when we get this new online system up, I will not need to rely on a single employee. I'll be able to run this report myself. That system is in works, so hopefully it'll be launched here shortly. And then our alleged nuisance of commercial establishments at 3712 Rhode Island Avenue. It was for the nighttime parties at the hair braiding salon. I am pleased to report that that matter was resolved and closed between the town, DPI, and the business owner. So we should no longer have that issue for those residents, again, 38th Rhode Island and Perry Street, that were affected by what was going on there. For at 3815 38th Street, the nighttime commercial noise violations, that case is still open. That is the Everfresh warehouse. So we are still working with that business owner and their night shift to curb this problem, but we are consistently issuing violations for it. So it looks like we may end up in court for that one, just to come to some civil agreement on it. And then the last page shows our automated speed camera enforcement monthly reporting for May. This is speed cameras, not stop sign enforcement. 218 citations were issued in the month of May. 297 in totality remain outstanding. That could be from the start of the program until May 31st. Total citations paid in the month of May were 110. So we collected in payments $4,400. Our service fees to the camera vendor are $1,668.37. So the town of Brentwood public safety revenues for the month of May from the speed camera program are $2,731.63. And the stop sign monitoring report is pending. I'm waiting for that to be emailed to me. But we are revamping the website, so these statistical reports will be, at my request, published every month. Okay? And that is my report for the month of May.
Mayor, maybe
Thank you.
recognized? Thank you. Just a couple of quick questions for you, Chief. Thank you for this. One thing that occurs to me that sort of coming in as a new council member, I would really appreciate if there's bandwidth and the capability to do this, but is to have more than just 2024 data for trend analysis, just to understand sort of what it's looking like, you know, particularly post-COVID, but also, you know, as we're seeing economic shifts, just to help understand the dynamics there, if that's possible. One other question is, do we have timing for that digital system to be stood up yet, or?
I have to defer to the town administrator.
Okay, we can cover that at another point. And then just to confirm, I was approached by a resident and community that they noticed that we had not reported any of this data in the lamplighter. So just making sure we're, you know, thinking about how we get this out to the public. So, thank you.
Thank you. You have a question for the chief?
Chief, I can just, well, quick question. This is something that maybe put top of mind. I know we're not having a session for July, but as we get into some of the hotter months, we have a increasing population of seniors in the town, and I would love it if that welfare check could just go up a little bit more as we get into the hotter months, making sure that everybody got the water that they need, or making sure that they get their AC units working, that they staying cool, and if they and if it's not, maybe we can even open up the town hall. They can come in and sit here just to cool off a little bit. I guess I'm a reprieve.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, you have a question for the chief? No. All right, thank you, chief.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor. I need to add, it's not necessarily the police department's report, but I just want to thank everybody for coming out. Brentwood Day was one of my assigned events. So, in my other life, I was an event coordinator. So, I got this one. I drew the straw. But thank you all for everyone that came out, the residents and participation. I think it was a great event. It looks like everybody had fun. The rain held off literally until it was time for us to pack up. So we did really good. So thank you to all the residents that came out of their homes. I was surprised at the amount of foot traffic on the route. So, and thank you to the staff as well, because it's not that many of us, but we were able to pull off such a large event.
Thank you so much, chief.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, so I'm going to move to the treasurer's deposits and activity report.
How's everyone?
Doing good.
Start with the cash report for May 2025. We have in the general checking fund account, we have a total of $665,590.49. In the ARPA, Truist ARPA account, rescue fund account, we have a total of $24,897.61. In the capital fund account, a balance of $235,272.33. In the PNC money market, we have a balance of $744.99. In the Truist money market, a balance of $189,651.86. In the merchant account, a balance of $154,013.15. And lastly, in the Truist checking account, a balance of $120,449.82 for a combined balance of $1,730,620.25. to the P&L budget versus actuals summary. We had a total of, to date, $3,031,611.71 in revenue, and a total of $3,053,969. I'm sorry, $3,053,969.69. For a net deficit, year-to-date deficit of $22,357.93. And the detail is also included in the package. For the bill payment list for the period of April 10th through June 13th, we paid a total of $280,062.50 in bills. And that concludes the report. Subject to audit.
Thank you. Any questions for the interim town treasurer? I'm good, thank you.
Thank
No.
you.
You have a question? No, okay. Right. All right, so moving down the line is the town administrator's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and guests. Town Administrator's Report as of June 17th. 38th Place Sidewalk. So they're still wrapping up their survey work, and I did speak with the contractor last week, and as soon as they get the survey worksheet along with the CAD design, they'll be able to move forward in the next phase of that project. The solar panels at the community center, they were tested. They are producing properly after being out of commission for quite some time. We do have to try to gain access from standard portals if we want to be able to monitor that service and view the activity. Safe Streets grant, and I just mentioned it, the kickoff meeting is tomorrow, Wednesday, June 18th at 10:30. Anyone interested in attending on the council, please let me know. I think I sent out an invite for that. I do hope I have some attendees on there with me. Sidewalk repairs, it's about 95% complete. I actually went out and visited each of the locations prior to the meeting, and I'm happy to be able to report that repairs at 3700 Tilden are complete, 3404 Upshur are complete, 3707 Upshur are complete, Bartlett Park is complete, 4304 40th Place complete, 39th and Perry is still in progress. That, however, they have prepped that area. They have also removed the areas in the road that were damaged from the tree. That has actually been, I guess, grinded down or shaved down, however they did that. So they just have to come back and finish up. Quincy, there were 3 separate areas on Quincy that needed repairs, and all of those are complete as well. 3707 Varnum, we were able to squeeze that in. That home, when we did some previous sidewalk repair work, we damaged her concrete edging, and so we were able to make those repairs. I think that's been outstanding a couple of years, so happy to report on that. And then 37th and Taylor, that was also a last minute request to repair the sidewalk on the corner there, and that's been completed. So these were some very significant repairs that were necessary because they posed a huge risk to pedestrians, anyone walking on those sidewalks. We may have missed some, but we did, we made a good faith effort to identify those areas that were just in really bad shape and address those. We do have a 4429 Wyndham Road. We're looking to repair the fence there. Again, there was some tree work that was done by the town, damaged the residence fence, and we're looking to get those repairs done in the next couple of weeks. And the estimates right now are looking to be about $800, but I'm hoping to be able to move forward with that repair. Again, that's another one that's been outstanding for a couple of years, so we'll be able to wrap that up. We did hear back from the tree committee for the stump tree removal on Quincy and at 37th and Perry Street. And the stump on Quincy will be removed. The tree on 37th and Perry, the recommendation from the tree committee was to make it a snag tree. And so we'll cut that down, we'll put a sign on it, and so we'll leave a stump there. And iWork is the software that the chief was making reference to earlier. So we've made significant progress there. We've been attending the trainings, getting all our data in the system. It's been a lot, but I think we're doing very well. We actually have the link that is going to be put on the website that will give residents access. And I'm going to probably hold off on a couple more weeks, just to make sure that we've just checked all the boxes. But hopefully in the next 30 days, that system will be up. So we're making significant progress on that. Just an update on the agenda management software. Opens Meeting did demo their system, demoed Civic Plus today, and demoed eScribe. So we've demoed 3, however, I'm still waiting on pricing from 1. I can tell you as of right now, it's looking like the annual cost for these programs with media, because I'm trying to make sure I'm comparing apples to apples, and with the exception of Civic Plus, the others, the media piece is already included. So the annual cost right now is looking to run between $6,000–7,000 each year. And then there's a one-time only fee for the setup, and that varies significantly. Civic Plus is $2,000 as a one-time only fee. The others is $9–10,000 setup fee. So, but the annual amount is less. So, council retreat. So that's scheduled for Sis Tavern, August the 2nd, from 10 to 3. I did have a question for the council from the facilitator in terms of staff. I do need to know what staff will be attending the retreat. So if you're able to provide that information, that would be great. I will say that I did reach out to MML, and so they will be coming to facilitate. They did request that it's a 5-hour window. It's broken up into like 3 different segments. So the first part of the retreat will be team building.
Can you remind us the date?
August the 2nd. It's a Saturday, and it's from 10 to 3. And the first part of the meeting will be team building, then we move into roles and responsibility, and then we go into goal setting. And he will also, between now and before the actual retreat, he'll reach out to everyone to I guess pick your brain for some information, so just to ensure that we have a very productive retreat. So that
you say the staff will be attending, will be town clerk, town administrator, and our a town attorney.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. I did attend some meetings, but you can see that in the report. Climate action plan. So we do have a final draft version of that of the plan. And they would like to present it, and so they're asking for a meeting in July. They're asking for a meeting in July, but they just sent an email out not too long before this email, and they could potentially push it to August. So
I got the email. Yeah.
Okay.
They say August,
okay.
probably. But the only thing we didn't count is that is National Night Out, but we can hold the meeting on the next day.
Okay.
The 5th, on Wednesday.
Okay. So I'm also looking into bringing summer camp program back to Brentwood. We used to have it quite some time, you know,
Yes.
probably 8 years ago, and not sure what happened. However, I did reach out to Park and Planning, and we're looking to bring it back. So we'll reconnect in December when they start their planning, and hopefully we can.
Pandemic happened. Pandemic happened.
Yeah. But so yeah, so we'll touch base in December, and hopefully we can bring the program back to Brentwood. Hired a new communication specialist. I don't know if anyone's had an opportunity to meet her, but hopefully you're seeing all the fabulous things that she's posting.
Really nice.
So that's helping. That's helping. She's doing a great job. And you guys get to interact with her Friday because she'll be streaming the meeting for us. Town Center installation of these CNET. So I still don't have a date in terms of when they're going to actually do the installation. However, Comcast has told me that there will be about a $9,000 cost to the town. I'm actually excited about that because I was concerned that cost was going to be closer to $50,000. So $9,000. I feel like the man upstairs is looking out for us. We did receive the final billing for Milestone Builders for this building. We got the last AIA. So wrapping this up. Community Center. We did have 2 rentals, and that's picking up. I have another application that's pending. They're looking to do a rental in November. I'm hesitant because I know November can be a little busy for us in terms of our own events. But we do have a lot of interest in folks wanting to rent that facility out. Public Works, we did receive an inspection sticker, just FYI. So we're able to, when we have, junk basically, we can haul it ourselves. We still have our roll-off, but when we cleaned out the community center and we had those big desks and things like that, once we received the sticker, we were able to offload those things ourselves at the landfill. We still have not sold the 450, the dually. There was issues with the title, and we're working with MBA to get that straight, and then we'll be able to sell that vehicle. And just a small update with Public Works, they are down 1 man, but they're still working very hard and getting everything done. And hopefully he'll be returning soon. And last update, I did not put this on my report for whoever has a copy of it, but summer concerts. So that is being planned. Current dates is July 12th, August 9th, and September 13th. And so hopefully September 13th, we can coordinate like we did last year and combine that with the Hispanic Heritage.
Yes.
And do them at the same time. And then I did provide rain dates of July 19th, August 16th, and September 20th. And let me know if I need to repeat, because I know I can talk really
works.
fast.
That works.
So, that's good?
Yep.
Okay. And I think that's all I have.
Before I move to the next, thank you, Shelley. And if you have any question for her, it's the time. But I want to say this public. I probably, many residents heard about the sidewalks palooza was mentioned sometime before. But I have to say that in 2 months, this woman was able to pull that off because for almost 2 years we didn't have Public Works committee working. She has made an amazing job, of course. Chief, thank you for the support as well, creating some of this. But I'm sure that the Public Works Committee is going to be a full force coming up. So I'm so happy for that. But thank you, Shelley, so much for taking the time to actually go and be my eyes, my legs, to walk the entire town to make sure, what I was seeing out there or the residents' complaints were addressed. So, but there's more to come. Of course, that was emergency repairs that we have to do. We have to actually consider those more dangerous spot, but we need more money. We need to approve more funding to make sure we do some more work. Thank you. I'm going to move to the council reports, starting with the Cable TV Authority. Not sure what's going on with this mic, but Councilmember Arango Millan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we met with the committee last week, and there is a lot of things in plan. One of the things I'm trying to do is, or what we're trying to do is make sure that we work on the communications aspect of things. I know that I had a virtual event happen with a lot of other elected officials regarding Know Your Rights, and that was a virtual event, and we did our first round of going to door to door. We didn't get to cover everything. I'm still trying to get more folks to give out more flyers, do canvassing. So I'm trying to extend it, the program. I mean, the cable. I know the cable committee was different before. And now I'm just trying to extend it, make sure that we work on the communications aspect of things. We're gonna do some more outreach, and we're also trying to get more work on the YouTube and social media platforms. So not with the town, not necessarily the town, but we're gonna be focusing more on like the YouTube channel and that aspect of things. So there's gonna be more updates coming up soon with the cable committee. And yep, that's my report for right now.
Thank you, Councilmember Millan. Public Works, Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. As you all have heard, many of the issues around the town as far as public works have been talked about earlier in the open session. It's our chief concern to go ahead and get all these issues taken care of on Volta Street, on 37th Perry, and some of the tree issues that you all have addressed. Still working hard to put together that committee. I got about 4 people signed up. Mayor, how many did we want? How many did we want signed up on the committee? I have 4. So the target's 5, hoping to exceed that with 10. I appreciate all the coming out. But get with me after the meeting so we can put your name on the list, and we get some communication going and get some action behind some of the issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Harris. The Green Team and Tree Committee, Councilmember Arango Millan.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I did forget to mention one thing that I'm working on for the cable committee, so I'm just gonna mention that real quick. One other thing that we're doing with the cable committee, and I'm on the process of working on this, is working with the University of Maryland's info systems department. They have a unit. They have like a kind of like a capstone project with their students, where they work on collecting data information, and I plan to use that so we could do some grant writing and stuff like that. So that's something that's I'm working with the department, and so that's something that I will update you guys more as we go. And now for the tree and sustainable committee. But this is just for the Green Team and the Tree Committee. So I want to give a shout out to my co-chair, Lauren Roque, the Honorable Lauren Roque. She's been really amazing. So just to give you guys a couple updates of what we've done, on April 12th, we held a community. So this is I guess an update from April 12th to June 2nd. So we held a community workshop for the Bartlett Park redesign, and the final concept will be ready in July. April 26th, we had the Earth Day cleanup. We had 25 volunteers. We were able to pick up 33 bags of trash, 11 of recycling, plus an e-bike and suitcase for the river. So let's see. We also supported 2 local plant. We walked the future Pocket Park site with partners to confirm boundaries. On May 28th, we met with MNC PPC and the University of Maryland to review the draft climate action plan. More information on that is coming soon. May 29th, Brentwood shared updates on Route 1, Green Team summit with 12 towns. So May 30th, we met with, I met with the co-chair of the committee to strengthen coordination. So we're working on, making sure that we have everything well established. On June 2nd, the tree committee submitted a recommendation for the dead tree on Perry Street. So thank you, and we're excited to move forward this summer with the Green Team Committee. I'm planning to, one thing is I'm also working with the Forestry Board, trying to increase the tree canopy. So I'm trying to have events coming up during the week where we can actually, as a community, plant trees in people's backyard, people that are interested. So I'm trying to work on the platform to make sure that we have like a nice Google form where people can, submit that they want a tree, so that way we can pick it up on time and do all of that. So thank you very much, and that's it.
Thank you. Councilman Rob?
Well, thank you, Mayor. So for special events, obviously, given Chief Jones's earlier comments about Brentwood Day, we had a great Brentwood Day, and I just look forward to having a debriefing with him and the team to understand sort of what all went into that, so that as I'm starting to think about next year's, we can build on their success. What I will point to is that this work does not happen without a really, really awesome team. And that means we need residents to join the committee. So I'm going to be focusing on recruitment efforts this summer as we have some of these other events happening, so that we can really build on the great work that they did this year and make sure all of the work that we're doing for our events to come together as community are successful, and to also be thinking about how we safeguard our community during those opportunities to connect and have fun together. So please, if you're interested in joining me in this work, reach out to me, and I'll be putting some information together about what that will look like in the months to come. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. The Citizen Advisory Committee, obviously Vice Mayor Jerry Burgess is not here to give that update, so I'm going to move to provide my report, starting with the meetings that I've been having with the Prince George's Gateway Development Authority, part of this group that we are working on this comprehensive plan, including 6 municipalities. The legislation in October 2023 from the Maryland General Assembly passed this Senate Bill 696 to establish Prince George's Gateway Development Authority, including Brentwood, North Brentwood, Mount Rainier, Carter City, and Coleman Manor, and Bladensburg. So the whole idea is to be able to provide a comprehensive plan, 1 to 5 year plan, so we can all collaborate and get funding from the state to different projects. So I'm working with them. Tomorrow we have another meeting to finalize, because we have a deadline to submit all our priorities. And tomorrow will be our meeting in Carter City. So excited about that, because once we have this plan together, so we have something in partnership with other municipalities, so the chances to get more funding when we collaborate together is bigger than doing it on our own. I'm also, last week we host citizenship orientation day, so we're going to start the citizenship classes starting July 9, and it's gonna be a 8 weeks program in partnership with Carecen, one of the local nonprofit organizations, to help residents, immigrant residents, to become U.S. citizens. As probably you heard, one of the things happening in the town of Brentwood, we have had different ICE raids around the town. So I was able to support families in our town with different resources, access to attorneys, access to funding as well with all the things that are happening. And also we are collaborating with other elected officials to create a plan of how to support families in need and what resources are available to support the ones that are left behind. I will be revamping the Brentwood Business Association, so we have our first meeting back on Friday the 27th. And that is pretty much what I've been working on. We are heading to Maryland Municipal League Summer Conference. So for all of my colleagues, it will be the first time attending. So I'm looking to join one of the Maryland committees. So that's why I'll be going and supporting others to make sure you guys get everything you need to be the best council person in the town of Brentwood. So, and that ends my report. With that, I'm going to move to the consent agenda. I need consent to approve the following items that were discussed in the previous work session. Veterans Bricks, Residential Plan Pride Event, cost, approval 500, Brentwood Police Department AED grant, maintenance agreement, Safe Street for All, contract approval, Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention, BJAG grant, acceptance, and flock safety subscription, sales agreement, and approval.
I approve.
You need to make, you actually need to make.
Excuse me. I make the motion to approve all the previous consents listed from A to E.
Need a second?
So, I second that, and I also consent, the complimentary, Veterans Bricks, the Residence Planned Pride event cost, the Brentwood, the AED, I guess, you already mentioned it, the Safe Streets for All contract approval, in the Governor's Office Crime Control Prevention, BJAG grant, yeah.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. So moving on to old business, the community center use policy. And that's Mrs. Town Administrator. Shelley. It's the community center use policy.
The community center policy, so I sent out the revisions based off of feedback from Vice Mayor and Councilmember Milan, and I incorporated those changes. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to review, and if you have any additional questions.
I'm just gonna ask a motion before discussion to approve the community center use policy.
Motion to approve community center use policy.
Second.
All right, so we had request the use of the community center. It used to be our previous town hall, and we've seen a lot of interest from our residents and others to use the community center for different purposes. So we are now, we discussed during the previous work session this policy. So, and the changes that were submitted by Councilmember Mian, myself, and by Mayor Burgess have been included into those, into that policy. Shall, will you be able to read? I can find the policy right now.
I'm sorry, Mayor, what did you say?
Will you be able to read the policy? Do you have it?
Well, I'd like to waive the reading of the policy. It's 4 pages.
Do we have a summary?
So. So community center rental guidelines, so the guidelines just provide some, regulations in terms of giving staff direction as well as those that are looking to rent the facility. It lays out what the application process is, what that timeline looks like, when you should submit your application, so that, you know, we encourage people not to do it last minute, because we have to get it on our schedule. It speaks to the fact that, obviously the center, town events will take precedent, over anyone else's requests, residents, other agencies, organizations that are maybe looking to use the facility. It provides some direction in terms of repeat rentals, and so no one is allowed to have a reoccurring rental that exceeds 60 days. There is a $100 security deposit that will be required by all. That security deposit will get applied to the actual rental fee itself. The rental fees, a Brentwood resident is $200. Nonprofit organizations, $300. All other rental types, $400. Additional.
Shelley, your mic is off. You need to get to the mic.
Over here. Sorry, I was trying to share it. I will repeat the rental fees. So the base rental fees, based off a 4-hour rental period, Brentwood resident is $200, nonprofit organization $300. All other rental types is $400, and then $50 for each additional hour after the first 4 hours. It lays out the renter's responsibility in terms of checking in with the staff in the facility, decorating and room setup, and what they're responsible for if there's a mess, food spill. They are responsible for bagging up their trash, and putting it up. Public Works will come through and grab it, but they do have to bag it up. Facilities responsibility. The facility will provide tables and chairs based off what we have in inventory to help with setups. The guidelines speak to cancellation, terminations, and changes to a rental. And then it speaks to what's allowed, what's not allowed. Brentwood Police Department. So Brentwood Police, if it's a group over 50, police presence is required. And there's additional fee because we have to pay officers to be on site. And so it lays out what those additional fees are. And that's pretty much it. There's also, so those are the guidelines. There's also an application that will accompany that, which also provides some guidelines. However, there's a separate document that gives the detailed guidelines. So I try to keep it short.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
may I make a comment?
Sure.
Or I guess I have a question. So I just want to make sure that I'm getting this right. For nonprofit organizations that want to have an event that's going to help the community or is going to be for the community, we're charging them $300.
Yes.
So I thought that's what we were changing that, right? As long if they have a sponsor, right?
I believe the last email that I received, even though we were keeping the fees, you know, minimal, there was still gonna be a fee because we wanted to cover our cost. So we still have costs in terms of staffing costs, the facility cost, things of that nature.
Right. And then I believe that we also talked about if, like, let's say, if it was sponsored, like, let's say we're doing an event, right? And I
Mhm.
bring, let's say, CASA or some organization that's going to be informing the community or helping the community, right?
Mhm.
Then we were going to waive that fee, right?
You-
If it
you
was
could-
one.
You could waive the fee, but that was not, so let me just say this, that wasn't my understanding when I did the revision. But we can have further discussion, and if that's a clause that we wanna put in here, I don't know that you'll be able to identify, what these agencies are. And so, to accomplish it, maybe we just include, language in terms of mayor and council being able to waive fees on a case-by-case basis.
Well,
or something of that nature.
Yeah, because I mean, what I was trying to propose is we have a lot of organizations that are doing good work. A lot of them don't have a budget that's really big, and
Mhm.
it benefits our community members. So
Right.
that's what I was trying to propose last time. That if there's an organization that's willing to come here on a Saturday to do some good work for the community, then why are we charging them $300 or $400, right? And I understand the cost, right? But
Right.
that's if we have a whole bunch of staff members around. A lot of the times, like I've done an event in the town hall when it's just probably one more person that's willing to help me out from it was Larry, I believe he came to help me, or it was the mayor one time, right? That worked on helping women of domestic violence, right? It was an event that doesn't need 3, 4, 5 staff, right?
Right.
And I think it was very beneficial for the community. So, I mean, I would like to,
My recommendation would be, I don't know if you know what that verbiage is now, or maybe we have to bring this back in August. But, maybe you put that forth for the council to vote on.
Yeah.
Because I do think there needs to be a vote. I don't,
Yeah.
one person can't make that decision, right?
Right.
And the reason I don't want to table this item is because residents and people are calling to rent the place, so we cannot be pushing it, and it's not going to be fair to not charge one resident and then you come up with a policy to charge the others. So we need to act now, even if, like the town administrator stated, we have a clause there that is stated that we can review it depending case by case. But one thing I'm not going to go is to charge somebody and not the other person, because that's so unfair.
Right. And I'm not talking about individual people. I'm talking about
Well-
organizations that are doing good work. So, I mean, I would like to move this for further discussion. I think it's necessary, and I think I need to look into it deeper, because that's not what from my understanding last time, or last session, that wasn't what we agreed on. So I could take it up on myself to do
can
some.
do that.
So I
You'd
can make
require-
I
As in-
can make
as
a
in look into it.
recommendation, and perhaps the wordage is, at the discretion of the mayor and council, fees may be waived. And if we're only talking about nonprofits, you could
yes.
probably include nonprofits or not.
Jason, will you give us your legal recommendation?
Well, I'm just gonna
Advice.
tell you, in other jurisdictions, there have been people or organizations who have taken advantage of the reduced rate for birthday parties and things that otherwise would have been charged. So you gotta be really careful about setting the policy and give yourself some discretion. Because there are communities, nonprofits out there who will do something for their granddaughter or for their best friend to try to waive fees. Just telling you that's happened in other jurisdictions. But you can come up with a policy that's flexible. Okay? I don't think you should put all of them in one bucket and say, well, we're not gonna charge them. I mean, I think there's a way, as long as you have a policy and a procedure in place to vet the community organization or the you know, the nonprofit, then you're gonna get what you want,
Yeah.
essentially, as long as that process is in place. So
Yeah,
just,
and I work with a lot of organizations, and if the council approve that organization to do something for the residents, yeah, we don't have to charge, because it will be a partnership with the town of Brentwood to do such an event. But what I'm not going to do, because I've been my experience as well, working in another municipality where we have a rec center, and that was the case. That was the case, that people were taking advantage. They were signing up, or you're going to end up with the same people rented out for somebody else, for a friend from the outside, and they're gonna keep bringing. So the real resident will never have the opportunity to use that place. So I will just ask, if no one else have any other comment, I would like to call the roll, but I see another comment.
I would like to chime in here. Thank you, Mayor. I too had some of those same questions that my fellow council member had, on the sort of the shift between the last working session. I wasn't able to stay for this particular part of the conversation. I was on travel related to my day job. But I was just a little caught off guard by some of the changes that I didn't see, but I was expecting to see regarding the cost to Brentwood residents, as well as the age. I think Councilmember Burgess had talked about, 18 years versus 21. But on the point of the nonprofit organization, I do agree that we should be thoughtful about how we're partnering with nonprofits, and I do support adding a clause where, and I would add to either the council is vetting or involved in making those decisions, where we could maybe also be a sponsor, right? So it is like they have a council member sponsor to kind of help cut through some of the need for those things to come to a meeting and be voted upon. So.
Right. So the other thing is, if you're only looking to maybe waive fees or consider raising fees for nonprofits, we could include some language, and then in the application, there could be a box. If they're requesting, they can request to have a fee waived. And then those requests have to come to the mayor and the council, or not, if you give town administrator, the authority to make that decision. So we could ask people to request a waiver of fees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that sounds, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well.
Okay.
There's something that can be added. Can we do the motion that, so you have
can
to
approve
retract
it with the
motion?
revision.
With the revision. So we have to withdraw that motion to make another motion that actually spells out that we going to approve upon revision.
Yeah, and then the other thing I just wanted to speak on, because you did mention it, Councilmember Elrod. So I had in my notes, because Vice Mayor did speak on the age requirement. I had previously had 21, but I put in my notes from the last meeting to change it to 20.
Yeah, I didn't hear a specific age
Oh, okay.
referenced.
Mhm.
I thought maybe he meant to indicate 18, since we
Oh, okay.
allow,
Gotcha.
18-year-olds to serve in the military behind a weapon. But yeah, I'm just trying to, comport like where I heard we left versus where we are today.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So I have to revoke my motion.
Withdraw your motion.
I withdraw my motion to approve the town center.
Withdraw your second, so
Community
that
center
we
policy.
can do
second.
another. We're gonna do another motion. You wanna?
A motion to revise the community center use policy?
You want the motion to approve the policy with the changes, or you want to
Oh,
hold?
I move to approve the community center use policy with revision.
Excellent. Yes.
And I second that.
All right. Any other question? Nope. Mr. Moran, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Glenn Harris Jr.,
Yes.
Councilmember Juan Arango-Millan,
Yes.
Councilmember Julia Elrod,
Yes.
and Mayor Rosita Lopez.
Yes, so moved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
All right, moving to the next item in the agenda will be the Brentwood Police Department Motorola radios. Chief, this is one of your requests, and I remember that it was asked if there was any other radios. That's the last time.
Yes, I think that was Vice Mayor Burgess's question, which we did answer in the last meeting. If I'm recall correctly, it's under old business because Councilmember Milan wanted to go back and read the documents in detail. So if anyone has any additional questions, I can answer those.
Yeah, well, I would rather to do a motion now and then ask questions.
I wanna ask questions before I make a motion. I mean, before I vote on it.
But that's why you make a motion.
Right, okay, then I second that.
You have to make the motion.
Okay, so I make a motion that I wanna ask questions before.
That's not
Still learning this thing. Okay.
Before discussion, we have to make a motion, so then we can discuss, and if the motion doesn't pass, or when they call the roll, I mean, we can do another motion if you're not agreeing or you don't accept whatever response you get from the chief or whoever is presenting. You get it now?
I get it. Okay, so,
You're gonna make a motion?
all right, so I make a motion to have this discussion.
No. You have to make a motion
Can you make the
to
motion?
approve.
And I just second it?
I cannot make a
I-
motion. You want some language?
I move to approve the Brentwood Police Department Motorola radio.
I second that.
All right, so now you can ask your questions. Sorry.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Had a long day. So I guess my question is, for the town treasurer. I wanted to know, this is a really, I believe this budget is really, really extensive, and I just want to know, sorry, not the budget, but the cost, right? I think it's pretty expensive, and I want to know how much of a burden this would be right now with our current financial situation.
I could answer that question, but I'm gonna table it for Shelley when she returns.
And just for the record, I mean, it's not gonna be purchased in this fiscal year. It has to be purchased. The approval used to purchase after July.
The
1st.
approval is for almost September or October to allow the tax deposits to come in.
Okay.
You had a question. She had a question first.
Yes, I actually have two. Thank you, Mayor. So the first one, I appreciate the chief, the effort to sort of think about the holistic perspective of how we replace our equipment. For the ones that'll be purchased in 25-26, fiscal year 25-26, and fiscal year 26-27, how long are we expecting those to last? Because I see that we replaced one in 2025, September, or we purchased one in 2022, and we were expecting what looked to be about a 10-year.
There's about a 10-year life expectancy
Okay.
on them.
Okay.
So the ones we're phasing out right now are the ones from 2010.
Okay.
So we have, let me scroll, make sure I say it to the right page. So we did buy some in 2022, so 10 years from there.
Got
Now
it.
that's no guarantee because
They
it
break.
could get ran over by a car,
Mhm.
fall in the creek and disappear, anything like
Sure,
that. But
sure.
we expect to try and get 10 years out of those.
Okay. And then my second question actually comes to us by way of Vice Mayor Burgess, who shared with us that he was just looking, and that these options have the one that you put forth for the quote presented with a higher end component like Smart Locate that pinpoints the radio in deep urban canyons or forested areas. Which seem to be something that doesn't exist in the town of Brentwood. So is there a rationale behind having that particular function? And in the interest of budget, is there maybe an option that we can access that does not have that feature?
So the features and the items are not chosen by me. We are using the Prince George's County system, and this is
Got
the
it.
spec that they set for the radios that will attach to or pair with their system.
Got it. So
So
it's
I
not
don't
our
really get to-
standard, it's the
Yeah, I don't really
county's.
get to choose. The only thing that I
Got
could
it.
take off would be encryption, but we would be unable to communicate with DC and a lot of Prince George's resources. They use encrypted channels, so I
Got
would
it.
never recommend removing
Okay,
that.
that's very helpful. Thank you.
I just wanted to go ahead and thank you again, Chief, for looking up the leasing option, just for the edification of the audience. That wasn't available. And then I think you just answered it, the unified communication piece. So we have full communication with DC and PG County Police, right?
Yes, as long as we get the encryption key, we're able to speak to anyone in the national capital region. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Milian? Have any other comment?
You mentioned that that there's a grant that you usually get that this radio would qualify for.
Not necessarily for radios. You might be able to get it from BJAG in the fiscal year, but radios is so. Maybe a few years ago, well, it's probably more than a few years now. The government was funding radios heavily when we were switching into the 700 and 800 and 900 megahertz bandwidths. Now it's kind of rare that you find a grant to pay for that because every system is at that federal standard of being in the 700, 800, or 900 megahertz bandwidth. So it's very rare that you're going to find a grant that's necessarily going to cover the cost of radios. It would be a one-off from somewhere.
Thank you. Any other question before Mr. Moran, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Glenn Harris Jr.,
Yes.
Councilmember Juan Alamian,
Yes.
Councilmember Julia Elrod,
Yes.
and Mayor Jose Termino Lopez.
Yes, so moved. Thank you. So September, we're looking to purchase.
September, October. And then the
Yes.
caveat in that AIS was that it had to be approved by the treasurer and the finance team before it's purchased, just to
Yes.
ensure proper cash flow. So.
All right, moving to the next item, Brentwood Police Department Tough Book. I know we've been talking about quite some time, and we are going to ask for a motion to approve the purchase of the Brentwood Police Department new Tough Books.
I motion to approve the Brentwood Police Department Tough Book.
A second.
Purchase. Questions? No questions? Nope. Call the roll.
Councilmember Glenn Harris Jr.,
Yes.
Councilmember Juan Alamian,
Yes.
Councilmember Julia Elrod,
Yes.
and Mayor Jose Termino Lopez.
Approve, it's so moved. Thank you. Moving down the list, new business, resolution 2025-11, gross vehicle weight limit restriction. So this is just, the draft is being presented. I know there still needs some revisions by the town attorney. So Jason and Chief, would you like to speak on this, just to brief the community on what is next on this ordinance?
Okay. So we're presenting, it was originally, I was trying to get it as an emergency ordinance since we were going on recess. There's some caveats in our own law for something to be an emergency. We may not necessarily meet that threshold just yet. But I did complete an ordinance establishing a gross vehicle weight restriction, reinforcing the speed limits adjacent to public parks, and authorizing the installation of traffic control devices in the interest of public safety, welfare, and fiscal responsibility for Volta Avenue between Rhode Island Avenue and 37th Street. And some of this may not, our attorney may change some of this language to be legally sufficient. But I originally had in here a gross vehicle weight restriction not to exceed 3 tons, which is 6,000 pounds, or 2 axles. And I can show you the chart that I used, or I can provide you a copy of the chart that I used that depicts all the different type of vehicles and their axles and weight loads. And that'll help you kind of come to a summation about where we should be in that range for that street. And it was also based off the videos that were provided by residents. And that would be for Volta Avenue between Rhode Island Avenue and 37th Street. There is an exception to the proposed ordinance. With the exception is emergency vehicles for police, fire, EMS, delivery vehicles for the United States Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, Amazon, DHL, local utility vehicles for Pepco, Verizon, Washington Gas, or the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission, also known as WSSC, and Prince George's County Public School buses. I'd also put in the ordinance that signage should be posted in accordance with the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices for Streets and Highways, MUTCD 11th edition, and that this restriction should be prominently displayed by digital message boards prior to Volta Avenue for no less than 30 days. That is so that the public can become aware as well. The other provision that I stuck in here was regarding the speed. Our charter or code actually already calls that speed will not be in excess of 15 miles per hour on any roadway adjacent to a public park. So we know that Volta Avenue touches 2 parks in our town. So I put in a provision to just reiterate that the speed shall not exceed 15 miles per hour on Volta Avenue between Rhode Island and 37th. And that, of course, this speed limit shall be affixed to speed sign poles or utility poles in accordance with the Manual on Unified Traffic Control Devices 11th edition. And this should also be prominently displayed on digital message boards prior to Volta Avenue from both sides for no less than 30 days. The ordinance also gave the Department of Public Works at the direction of the town administrator to install the traffic control devices that we spoke about on Volta Avenue, which were the flexible traffic delineator posts that we have in stock in Public Works. More financially responsible. And then there was a added, which I'm not sure if it's legally sufficient as of yet, excuse me, about violations of this ordinance. So any speed in excess of 15 miles per hour was a $100 fine. Any vehicle weight restriction violations, $500 fine, and then any failure to stop at a stop sign, a fine of $90. And those had to be issued by town infractions and not the normal state ticket that is issued by our police officers and their cruisers, because that money goes directly to the state. And if you're violating our laws, I feel that you should be putting back into our community. So, and then there was also one failure to yield to a pedestrian in a crosswalk, a fine of $250. So that's the basis of that ordinance.
And just for the record, the agenda says resolution. It's actually an ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to amend the agenda. That's a big difference between a resolution and an ordinance.
So this is gonna be actually tabled for the next meeting. So hopefully we have language and all the requirements met by the next meeting. And I will ask the residents patient. I know you guys been very, but please know that we are actually working on this matter.
Mayor,
Oh.
may I be recognized? Thank you. Chief, where we are working on the language for the fines, those, just to clarify, those will be, if somebody violates that's coming from an officer who's clocked a violation, correct?
Correct,
There's
yep.
no cameras or anything
No,
related?
there are
Yeah.
no automated enforcement on that roadway as of yet.
Got it.
We do intend to hold a public hearing for that when we come back from recess.
Great.
To look at those options as well.
Thank you for confirming.
No question.
So
All right.
I do have a question, Madam Mayor. Well, I guess I would like to get some public input. I want to know how the public feels about this after the town attorney makes his revisions on it, and maybe this could be something that the Public Works Committee could look at for our next session. And I don't know if that's how to go about that. Is that a motion that I make?
No, there's no motion. Well, that's basically the reason we hold a public hearing. That ordinance requires for you to have 1 or 2 public hearings. But, yes, I'm sure that the residents will be behind Councilmember Harris to make sure, they receive a copy of the ordinance.
Before our next session, if
Oh.
that's,
No, we can't.
Our
It has to
voting
be
session.
presented in the open meeting, and then it becomes public.
So it'll have its first reading in August when you return from recess.
Yeah.
It will go to a public hearing, and then it will have its final reading and.
gotcha, okay, thank you.
All right.
And then, Mayor, I just have one question in regards to the fees. Do you want the fees in the ordinance? Because I know if you try to make adjustments to those fees later, you're gonna have to do a ordinance to the,
Go ahead.
Yeah, you typically want your fees to be done by resolution, okay? And the ordinance can say, fee to be established by resolution of mayor and council. And then
Okay.
you have a resolution. It's much easier to do a resolution than having multiple readings of an ordinance just to change the fee, so.
I was about to say that.
Mm.
Because just remove one single word from ordinance is called amendment. So we have to go through the entire process to do that. So yes, I learned to the years of doing ordinance. So it's going to be a resolution. Thank you for that, Jason. All right, so let me move to the next item. And this is ordinance 2025-11, 37 street residential parking. So that was a request, but we don't have the resolution. We still have to do some language.
No, I have it.
You have it? Okay. Question, Chief, only in regards of timing, because this ordinance, if you're gonna do the first reading today, and we're not gonna have a meeting in July, do we have time issues?
yeah.
We have 60 days.
Okay, so meaning that on August, when we come back, we actually have to,
Second
if you do the first reading today. Yes, okay.
Yes.
So go ahead and do the first reading.
Okay. This is language that was just taken from the other permit parking zones that we already have in the town. So this one is the ordinance, and I have this one as 2025-12, an ordinance of the mayor and council establishing residential permit parking on 37th Street, whereas the Brentwood Town Code, Section 305, Article 2, residential area permit parking, subsection 30516, establish the authority of and procedures for the mayor and council to designate residential permit parking within the town and determine the eligibility requirements of such parking. And whereas the required percentage of homeowners on 37th Street between Allison and Varnum have properly signed a petition requesting permit parking and presented the signed petition before the mayor and council, where a public hearing was held on November 19, 2025, and the mayor and council through the town clerk's office have confirmed the validity of the signatures affixed to the aforementioned petition. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the town of Brentwood hereby establish that permit parking will be in effect for 37th Street during designated hours in accordance with the policies and procedures established in the Brentwood Code.
Does that conclude your reading, Chief? So we have to schedule second reading and hearing. Sorry.
Chief, just to clear it up, by percentage of homeowners that sign in the request for residential parking, is it like a number or how many?
70%.
70%?
Okay.
But I believe we got more than 70%.
It was a pretty robust petition, if I remember
Yes.
correctly. It was
Mhm.
right when I got here,
Yeah.
so.
So, all right, so the next meeting, we will do the second reading and hearing.
The public hearing, yes.
Well, remember that 5th is, we will have to reschedule the meeting in August because it's National Night Out.
And the time, 6:30.
6 is fine. All right, well, I will move to the next item, which is a social media policy revision. I will move, Town Administrator, please.
Yes, so I just wanted to really just introduce this, the revision. I'm not looking for approval. I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to review it. It was just some minor changes to update it. The original policy was effective back in 2018. I just made, again, some minor updates. You know, it references Twitter, which
Is X.
which is now X. Slight change in some verbiage on the first page. The fourth bullet initially read the last sentence. Twitter and it's speaking to communicating via social media. It said it wasn't the most effective way. I just reworded it to read, town doesn't recognize this as an effective method to answer customer service questions. It is effective communication to publish information, flyers, things that keep you updated what's going on around the town. And then if you go down 3 more bullets, I added some verbiage in regards to residents or whomever being able to submit comments electronically to the town clerk or town administrator as required to be read into record of an open meeting. The town reserves the right to provide separate contact information for the purpose of receiving communications from residents and other community members. The town does not recognize communications received by anonymous senders. And then if you scroll through, go down 3 more points, I made some adjustments to this bullet. While communicating through, I added a personal social media account here. It's referring to employees and how they use their own personal accounts. I added the last sentence, or last 2 sentences, employees should avoid making statements that could damage public trust in the town and or disclose confidential town information. Employees should also avoid use of the town logo, seal, or letterhead unless authorized. Then under monitoring, let's see, I just corrected some errors that was actually in the original policy. And that was really it. So it was just some minor changes to the social media policy. And so if you're good with those changes, you could definitely vote on this tonight.
I
And
am
if you
good
want
with the
to-
changes. Do you have anything? Any questions or anything? All right, so I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the social media policy revised or updated.
I motion to approve the social media policy revision.
I second that.
Okay. So any questions? Hearing none, can you please go? Yes, you have a
Yes.
question.
Just one clarifying question.
Mm-hmm.
Where we say in the very last bullet about commenting through a personal social media account, are we to infer that when we say accompanying their posts with a disclaimer such as the postings on the site are my own and do not necessarily represent town's positions or opinions, would you say that it is sufficient for if that's in like our site bio, or does that have to accompany, does that language need to accompany a post we were to make?
So
Like
this
each
is actually,
individual post.
So this is actually, it's really for the employee. If they're posting on their personal social media accounts about the town business or activities, it's just providing some guidelines in regards to that.
Okay, but my question is, does that need to be referenced in, like, if someone's making a comment, posting a comment in reply to something that somebody posted, and it references town business, does the post itself or the comment need to include that language, or is it
Yes.
sufficient that their bio says everything under this personal account is my own views and doesn't represent any of the organizations that I'm affiliated with? I'm just saying, like, in my own personal day job, like,
It
when
should
you're an
accompany
indi-
the post.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other question?
Councilmember Glenn Harris Jr.,
Yes.
Councilmember Juan Arel Miao,
Yes.
Councilmember Julia Elrod,
Yes.
and Mayor Jose Termina Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you,
Approved.
Mayor and Council.
All right, the Town of Brentwood internship. That's Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. And I hope to go ahead and have more discussion on this when we get back in August. But what we're looking to do is start a Brentwood internship program. The Brentwood internship program would offer high school seniors and college students the opportunity to gain hands-on experience in municipal government while earning academic credit aligned with college semester systems. It's for students eligible for college semester credit based on partnership with academic institutions, working 6 to 12 hours per week during the fall, spring, and summer semesters. So we're looking at having this as a threefold. We're hoping to do some mentorship from council members. I know Councilmember Juan is going to speak on that in a second. Mentorship from council members and from senior staff. And then exposure to public administration, community outreach, budget, infrastructure planning. For the schools and universities, this is a win because the structured internship is aligned with their academic goals. We're looking at probably submitting progress reports and student evaluations, and then opportunities for students that have a political science, that are seeking a political science degree, public administration, communication, or related fields. And this is going to be compliant with also their service learning or their capstone requirements. Internship tracks, community engagement, public policy research, event planning and outreach, government administrative support, digital media and communication, which lines up with some of our committees.
Are you looking for any approval on this, or it's just,
Well, right now, this is still rough, and I want to email it to everybody in the committee so they give it a look over. And I know some folks are going to want to make edits and changes to it, but I hope we can implement it maybe in that fall of 2025 timeframe.
so can we bring this or table this to come into the work session?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Everybody okay with tabling for the work session?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I think, Juan, you want to make a comment on the mentorship piece?
Yeah, for the mentorship piece, I'll just be real brief about that. So I'm doing a partnership with the TEDx, so we can have, help the youth be able to and this is something that Councilmember Harris and I we're going to be doing to help the youth be able to work on public speaking and all of that, and be able to participate in that. So there's going to be some cool partnerships like that would just give exposure to the youth and improve the leadership. But we can discuss that in our work session.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I so prior to the discussion in the next meeting, is it possible just to have a meeting in terms of exactly what this looks like coming through, when this person comes through the door, and how it impacts the staff? I think it's probably going to be good to provide some guidelines. I know in the past we've participated in some programs, and when the person arrived, we weren't really prepared. There was not an outline, there wasn't any structure in terms of what they were going to be doing. And I think it's important that everybody that has a hand in this knows what their role is. If as a town administrator, if I'm responsible for X, Y, and Z, then I want to know that I'm responsible for X, Y, and Z. And how does that look in the program when they first come in? Are they going to be shadowing a council person, and then in week 3 or what have you, They're gonna spend time with the town administrator. It will be good to get that on paper.
Can I add as well? I think I had flagged that very thing of like, what's the hourly commitment from, you know, as a council member, I'm very much, as a person who's benefited a great deal from internships, I'm very supportive of them. But just to understand sort of going into that working session a little bit more fully, what the program might look like. And then the other question that I had that would be good to be thinking about, if we're talking about offering this, you know, as a vehicle for academic credit would be to understand what the potential implications are from an academic institution perspective, from an accreditation, and if there's like a review process from the different academic institutions, what that looks like. So I don't know if we can maybe look to sister communities to see, or municipalities to see sort of the fuller impact of all of the machinations that go into staffing and supporting this kind of program. Thanks.
Yep.
Just want to say something real quick, response to that. So, you know, one of the things that that mentions here is like MOU with some of the universities. A lot of them already have a structure in place. Like I know Trinity University has a program already in structure. Like they so in order for us to be able to work with a lot of these organizations, which I'm exploring as well with Councilmember Harris, is those already established, so that we already will give them exactly what they're going to be doing. There's going to be something in place, but that's something we're going to bring up in further discussion as well.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And yes, I just wanted to add onto that because taking time of the staff is kind of hard with all the piling work that they have. Not also considering that we have workforce here, part of the USA jobs that they have to take from 9 to 2 almost every day if someone comes. So I will also ask, and when you draft your plan, to make sure what will be the implications or what will be the liability when you bring students into collaboration or partner or any internship program into to actually co-work with the staff.
Right.
So we need to come very tough because it's coming. It looks great, but then I have to point out, and probably I'm gonna send you an email with all the questions, pointing out how are we going to respond to these 6 to 12 hours per week? Who will be responsible for those 6 to 12 hours a week? Because if you're expecting that the staff will be dealing with this, I will say this very harsh. They're not getting paid for that. There's a lot of other things that they're considering. But, it's great. I'm in favor. I'm also being in internship, but it's like, how are we gonna get it? We gonna give some pay internship? How this is gonna play? So it's a lot to think, but I'm sure that you guys are going to develop this plan fully
Right.
to be presented in the next meeting.
Right.
And if I may, council members, please feel free to tap me in to help with, thinking through some of
Will
these
do.
questions, and I'm happy to assist with this endeavor because I do think it's an important one for us to pursue.
Definitely. All right, thank you. Moving to the next item, I need a motion to approve the retreat facilitator fee of $2,500. And the retreat is scheduled for August 2nd from 10 to 3.
Motion to approve the retreat facilitator fee of $2,500.
A second.
Okay, any questions about this?
Is this, I'm assuming this is budgeted for? Yes, okay, just making sure.
Election year. And it's mandatory for the council members to be present.
I love a good retreat.
Bring good food, please. All right, so please call the roll.
Councilmember Glenn Harris Jr.,
Yes.
Councilmember Juan Araumian,
Yes.
Councilmember Julia Elrod,
Yes.
and Mayor Citromina Lopez.
Yes. So moved. The special meeting climate action plan request has been scheduled for August. I think that was August 5th, what I saw to do the presentation.
Yes, I believe they're trying to push it to August.
August 5th. Okay, all right, so moving to the next, and this is Councilmember Harris. Young Ken Academy summer schedule.
Thank you. I know we discussed this last time about activation with some of our high school students in the area. I just want to thank you all again for hearing me out on this. Coming up July 25th, we're actually headed to Norfolk State. I know the town administrator asked that I get some information out to her with some of the attendees and get some driver's license and credential information over to her. So I'll get that out this week. And then also coming up the second week of July, we're doing a resume and interview skills professional session. Hoping to go ahead and conduct it out of town hall. We already got, and I want to send a special shout out and thank you to Arcel Mitchell for providing lunch. He's committed to provide lunch for 30 some odd youth. Then I want to also send a shout out to OneView, Philip Gibson, for helping with some of the resume prep and guiding that discussion, and Samuel Howard from staffing it to do interview prep. So the date tentatively set for July, but we'll get some firm information out soon on that. Thank you.
Did you say second week in July?
Second week of July,
And are you looking to have that here at the community center?
prayerfully.
Second. Okay.
We close for business.
Is that what day? And what day is that?
Either Tuesday or Thursday.
Tuesday or Thursday. Okay. That is fine, because our citizenship classes will be held here on Wednesday.
Okay, perfect.
So you good. All right, so you, anything that you need to be approved?
No, that's it. I just wanted to go ahead and give an update and give a thanks again.
Okay, so
If-
this is gonna be one of the,
Okay. So I guess when you lock that date down, you'll let us know.
yes.
We'll do.
If I may, Mayor. This was a part of the conversation at the work session that I missed. I just wanted to quickly ask a question. For people, I like to do things as by the book as possible. And this, I just want to understand from an ethics perspective of the interaction between us as council members and organizations we might be affiliated with and our ability to access town resources. Are there past examples where a council member has utilized, like the town vehicle to, in the service of a program that they're looking to partner with the town on? I just want to, not to say that anything, I just want to understand a little bit better of like past examples where we've done this.
Not that I recall. It's usually with organizations we're already in partnership with.
Okay. But it's not off bounds for us to have partner organizations that we might be affiliated with and bring those to partnerships with the town.
Oh, what do you, how do you define affiliated with?
I would say like in an official capacity, like if I were working or I created a nonprofit, like, and I wanted to do a partnership with the town. I'm just trying to like understand sort of the parameters and bounds of some of that stuff.
Yeah, that gets a little bit more complicated.
Got it.
Okay, and it's probably something that needs to be on a case by case to see
Okay.
what the affiliation is.
Right, and like
Yeah.
the role of recusal and
Yeah.
in sort of voting. I just want to make sure I understand. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Very helpful to understand that.
Anyone else? Nope. Okay. I just want to reserve my comments because I feel that it will be unfair to say, but that's why this team is going to MML, and I'm sure you guys gonna take the ethics class, and it will explain so much on that class. So I encourage you to take advantage of it, because then you will be able to understand what to do and not to do, and how easily can be to cross the line,
Right.
and be like put in the town, and I would say liability.
Yes.
So, and that's one of the things that, at least we have not been, I would say that we have not been guilty of for the past 10 years. So, I will hope to continue that way, but I just want to say, you knew we're about to leave this weekend, so I'm sure you're going to learn a lot about municipal government and the things you do and don't do. And you're going to hear a lot from the attorneys too.
Fantastic. I dig it.
So
I would rather ask the question and have it answered and know what side of the line I need to be on than to be like, oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, but I'm
It's
sure
not.
when you guys come back, you're going to have a different mindset. Because whatever I say right now, not going to work. But when you up there and talking to other professionals, you're talking about legislators and other people, you will understand what it means to be a council person. So, with that being said, I'm just going to move. I know we have some public comments, and I will have Mr. Moran to read those out loud.
So we have 3 comments, but one was from Ms. Wilson that was here earlier. Do you guys still want me to read it out loud, or nope? I'll start with hers. Public comment for tonight's council meeting, speed bump request at 37th and Perry. Good evening, council members. For public comment at tonight's meeting, I would like to formally request the installation of a speed bump at the intersection of 37th and Perry Street due to ongoing traffic safety concerns. Many vehicles continue to roll through the stop signs at this intersection without coming to a complete stop, creating dangerous conditions for both pedestrians and other drivers. Most concerning is the group of children who wait at this corner each morning for the school bus. Their safety is being put at risk by drivers who fail to obey traffic signs and speed through the area. I urge the council to take swift action to address the issue and help protect the safety of our residents, especially our children. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. And then I did go ahead and send that petition over to you guys as well.
Thank you. Yes, I saw it.
Thanks.
All right, this next comment comes from resident Garrett Bradford on 39th Street, 39th Place. Dear Brentwood Council, I am writing to express my strong support for the traffic calming measures and heavy truck restrictions on Volta Avenue. I want to acknowledge the efforts of my fellow resident Brian, along with his wife, whose ongoing and commitment to raising awareness on this issue have been invaluable. As the town has the automated external defibrillators installed, I urge you to designate a point person responsible for ensuring proper maintenance and addressing any related concerns with Rescue One. Clear oversight will help maximize the effectiveness of these critical devices in emergency situations and ensure Brentwood is getting the most out of the annual fee for service. Thank you for considering these important improvements for our town. Sincerely, Garrett.
Okay.
And 1 second. This comment comes from Kiana Taylor on Barnum Street. I wanted to take a moment and thank the mayor, council, and staff for their continued hard work, but especially Mayor Terminio Lopez. The work that you are doing to keep our immigrant residents safe and informed is invaluable, and it is not going unnoticed or unappreciated. Thank you as well to all the residents and community partners who are contributing to this very important work. Together we are positively affecting many lives, and that is the foundation of a healthy and thriving community.
Thank you. I just want to close this meeting. First of all, thank all of you for being here tonight. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the concerns that you bring to our attentions. Doesn't go unnoticed. Don't think that, I'm trying to cut you through. But as you know, time is limited when it comes to meetings, but I appreciate and hoping that if you have any following questions, please don't hesitate to ask the chief directly or to come and meet with the town administrator. That's the best way we can have to respond you back with questions, with data questions that you might have. And with that, I also want to thank a lot of the residents that came out last week to support our neighbors. It is hard to see what's happening, and it's hard when you see that it's so close to you. That is your neighbors, that are your children that are being affected for all those immigrant laws that are not being working for so long But I will say that for me, this is not a political game. This is actually a humanitarian response to be able to support families that are in crisis. There's kids that are left behind, and I cannot imagine, because I went through this a few years back, I cannot imagine how those kids are feeling without their parents. So if you have questions or you would like to support this family, please let me know. And I'll bring best we can. But I just want to say thank you, especially all of those that came out on Saturday when we received different comments and threats that they will be coming to our event. But I really appreciate all and every single people that came and support not only the vendors, support the staff, because they did an amazing job. And what they did is just, without hesitant, with all the things that were happening around our town, they still were able to put the happy face, and we were able to smile with others and just think that everything is gonna be okay. We cannot lose hope. So with that, I'm just gonna ask a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Mayor and Town Council.
Motion to adjourn the meeting of the Mayor and Town Council at 9:28 p.m.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. It really means a lot that you show up.